Welcome back to my channel. So, today we are starting our next lecture, that is lecture 12, that is file handling and exception handling. So, at this time, we have completed all our lecture 11. So, if you have not watched that video yet, please watch that video and let's continue with this video. So, in this today class, so we are talking about file handling and exception handling. So inside this file handling and exception handling, we have deal with reading, writing, and safely handling errors in your program. So this is our lecture today, lecture 12, and let's move forward. So uh, so let's talk about the roadmap of our today's lecture. That what we will cover today. What is the agenda of our today lecture? First of all, this lecture are divided into two parts, part one and part two. First part, when where we will deal with file handling. In file handling, and in second part we will deal with exception handling. So in file handling, uh, we will talk about introduction to files, opening and reading files, writing to files, file modes explained, and closing files properly. Okay, these are those 5 points. And the in exception handling, uh, we are dealing with what are errors, types of errors, try and accept concepts, the finally block, and handling real examples. So these are the total agenda. So what we will cover today. Okay. So now let's move forward and let's start off our today's class. The first part, that is the file handling. So in file handling, how programs reads from and write to files on disk. So how is this thing is possible? So let's talk about. Okay. So in file handling, so first of all, let's talk about introduction to file. It means what is files. Okay. So what is file? So just imagine a name location on disk used to store data permanently, text, records, logs, configuration, etc. So that these things, a name location on disk used to store data permanently, that are called a file. Okay. And what do you mean by the file handling and why file handling? Like variables lose their data once a program ends. Okay. But file lets a program save and reuse data across run. Therefore, we use file handling. Okay. And the third one is the core workflow, that is every file operation follow the same pattern. What was the pattern? So the pattern is open the file, read or write data, and then close the file. Simple thing. Just remember this three workflow. First of all, open the file, read or write data, and then close the file. Okay. So these are the core workflow. So now, when we talk about the types of files, so we have two types of files. Okay. First is known as a text file, and second is known as a binary files. What does it mean? So in text file, store data as readable characters like a sky character or a sky and a Unicode, or second one, that is opened in mode. What are the mode? That's R mode, W, A. That's a default. Okay. What does it mean? We will tell. We will talk in brief. Okay. So third one is that's the example of text file, that example, that is doc.txt, .csv, .py, .log. So these are the examples of text files. And fourth one is easy to open and read manually. Most important thing, that is easy to open, but the read manually. But in binary files, that store data as raw bytes. Binary means what? 0 and 1. So store data as raw bytes, that is 0 and 1. Second one is the opened using mode, that RB, WB, AB. What was the I will talk about. Let's uh, uh, just understand this point. At this point, how the mode will look like. Okay. So, and the example, that third one is the .jpg, .mp3, .exe, .pdf. So these are the examples of the binary files. Okay. And the fourth one is the not human readable in a text editor. Remember that binary files are not human readable. Okay, in the editor. Okay, in text editor. So now the most important thing, how we are opening the file. So let's do all this thing in brief, one by one. Okay. So let's talk about the opening file. Okay. So like using Python's built-in open function before you can read or write anything. Always remember how we can do this. Okay. So these are the syntax. Like we have any variable name, that is the file object, and that's equal to open some file, and there is the file name, and there is the mode. So these are the syntax of the how we are opening a file. Okay. So let's talk about first of all. Okay. So in file handling, so now what we have to do, first of all, let's create a file name, that is file handling dot py. Then now let's talk about file handling. Okay. So now what we have to do in file handling. So we are doing, first of all, let's talk about the syntax, how the syntax will look like. Okay. Yeah. Now, so let's start this thing, and let's talk about the syntax. So how the syntax will look like. So first of all, let's create any variable name. So these are the syntax, like syntax, how the syntax will look like. Okay. And so syntax is like look like, just to create this. So file object, let's create any variable that is known as open open file name, and these are the mode. Okay. So these are the whole syntax. Okay. How we can opening, how we can opening any file. Okay. So how this thing is look like. So let's do this. Okay. So first of all, what we have to do, these are the syntax, and after that, let's take an example, like how this thing, how this all these things will look like. What do you mean by R mode? What do you mean by W mode? What do you mean by A mode? So these are the whole these things. So let's do one by one. Okay. So after that, so these are the syntax. So remember the syntax, and when we talk about some examples. So when we do some examples, like how the file will be opened. So remember, okay. So in examples, what we had to do, let's create any variable, that's any file, and after that, just open that file. There is a file name, notes.txt, okay, and open in R mode, okay. And what we after that, these are the opening of file, and open in read mode. R means that is a read mode, and then just print and just see what is the output. That's mean open in read mode. Okay. So these are the syntax, that is the file name, and that is the R is the read mode. And just print. Yeah. So problem is what? That's a file not found error. So at this point, the node.txt are not inside in this this file is not found. So therefore the error. So you have just uh, understand them how the file will be opened, and in which mode the file will be opened. Okay. So these are the syntax. So I will just told about how the syntax will look like, how will you do this, okay? But when we create, when we have some file name that is really in that file, then this will be printed, okay? So I hope you understand the whole syntax of this. So let's move forward and after that let's these are the whole syntax, like how this thing all this work, okay? So let's move forward and now let's talk about the file handling, that we have some modes, okay? So we have some modes of file, like how this you just see about the, we have a R mode, we have a W. What do you mean all these things? So let's talk about one by one, okay? So file modes, we have some modes. So we have R mode, W mode, A mode, R plus, RB, WB, that you see in the binary, and X. What do you mean? So R means that is a read mode. Read mode, what do you mean by? So that's a description of the read mode is opens file for reading only, error if the file doesn't exist, and that is the default mode. If the any mode that is if this is the default mode, that is always at that point, okay? So read mode, that is a default mode, always remember that always work with opens file or for reading only, error if the just see here, error if the file doesn't exist. So in previous example, that's the file doesn't exist, therefore the error will be there, okay? I hope you clearly understand this point. After that we have a W mode, that do you mean by the write mode, that means opens for writing, creates the file if missing, overwrites if it exists. What do you mean by what? Let's talk. Okay. After that, we have a that's the append mode. What do you mean by this? So opens for writing, adds new data to the end without erasing content. Okay. We have a R plus mode. What do you mean by this? That is read and write both. Opens for both reading and writing. File must already exist. Okay. RB and WB means what? That is the binary read or write. That's same as R or W, but operates on bytes. We have already told you all these things. Okay. So same as R and W, but operates on bytes for non-text files. Okay. And after that we have a X, that means exclusive create. That is creates a new file, fails with an error if it already exists. So these are the whole file modes. So let's talk about all the file modes in brief after in further slides. Okay. So these are the mode RWA, R plus, RB, WA, X. So these are all these things. I hope you clearly understand these points. Okay. Now let's move forward. Now let's talk about uh, this thing. Okay. So first of all, what we have to do. So now let's do, first of all, let's create any file, okay? So inside that, this is the file handling, and inside this file handling, what we have to do, yeah, this one, and just create any file name, that is notes.txt, yeah, okay, notes.txt, yeah, or inside this, just write this one, yeah, good morning, yeah, yeah, okay. So we have created this one, and just go with the file handling.py, and inside that just do this thing, okay, at this point. And now let's talk about all these things, okay? So now just print. So these are the reading that file, that is the text base, that's the name of this node.tf, that is a mode R, and these are the encoding that we have already told this inside here. Okay, so like this. Okay, so let's do this. Why this happened? Why do you mean? What do you mean by this? So after that, just do this, and let's move forward. Yeah. So how you opening the file done, and the more important that the file will be open. Okay. At this point, the file will open. We have done all these things. Okay. Now, what we have to do? Let's talk about the readings file. Reading in readings file, what we have to do that the syntax is look like this. That's the read and the parenthesis. So read parenthesis returns the entire file content as a single string. Use read and to read only an character. That's the character point. Okay. So let's do open the file, then read the file, then print that file, and let's see what happening at that point. Okay. So now let's talk about what do I mean by this. Okay. So first of all, what we have to do, just here we are reading a file. Yeah, that's file. Okay. That is mean by the this one syntax. Okay. Now let's talk about one by one, and now what we have to do. Yeah. So we are doing this. What is that? So first of all, let's create a new file. Yeah. Here, just open any file. That is the we have a file name notes.txt. Okay, notes.txt, and that opening which mode? That's the R mode. Okay, that's the file will open. Then what we have to do? The file are open here. After that, we have just read that the content inside the file. Okay, yeah, just do this content, create any variable content. That's what do you mean by this? That's read that file. Okay, that's this will look like this. These are the syntax. That's the file name here. F, that's a variable of the file name, and f dot read. Okay, and after that, just print content. What is inside the file node.txt. So what do you mean by this? So whole file as one string. Always remember. Okay. So here just do this whole file are one string. Okay. I hope you all understand what do you mean by this. Okay. Yeah. So whole file as one string. Okay. So now just print and see what is the output. So remember in notes.txt. One second. Yeah. So in notes.txt, inside this, what is inside? That is the good morning in a string, okay, and the output is good morning. I hope you understand how this thing will work like. So we can do this, okay. So what we have to do, and now just print and just see what is the output. Okay, that's the whole thing. So whole file as one string. Remember, okay. I hope you clearly understand all these points. Okay, so let's move forward, and let's talk about the all more things about the file handling. Okay, now what we have to do. So these are all the things that how the reading files, and let's create anyone. Right, so we have to just uh, uh, we have to just reading that file, that's the limited character. Okay, then how this thing will work? Okay, so let's talk about. Okay, so now what we have to do? Now let's create app2. Same, open file name is note.txt, notes.txt, and then we are just creating a reading of file. Okay, at this point, and after that, let's create content app.read, and read at yeah, app2, yeah, app2 dot read, and read at that which character. So this is go through the character 8. Okay, now just print content and see what is the output. So at the just see here for character 1 2 3 4 5, string also a space in the character 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and 8. Okay, so at 8 that's a 4 r. Okay, so therefore the print the good more. Okay, so this is how this thing will work like. So I hope you clearly understand this point. So that's mean first 8 characters only. Okay, so I hope you all understand all this point here. I hope there is a no there is a I hope all I hope I cleared your all doubt. So now let's move forward and let's talk about the most important thing inside the file handling is what that's a read line and read lines. What do you mean by this? So read line and read lines, that is the read a file line by line instead of loading everything at once. Remember? So how this thing look like? So look, let's do this all these things one by one and let's talk about. Okay. So first of all, let's talk about the read line. So here you have just opened a file, and after that, what do you, here the not a read syntax, that is a read line. What do you mean by this? That's a read a single line. Always remember that only read a single line, and after that's the print. And what do you mean by the read line? So when we open the file, that means that return a list of lines. That's this line, this line, this line, this line. That's all inside the list. Okay, I hope you clearly understand this point. So now let's talk about all this thing in brief. Okay, so let's do this. We have dealt with red line, red line, and then first of all red line. So here in node.txt, now let's create another line, that is the what do you mean? So uh, that is good night. Yeah, good morning and good night. All these things done. Okay. So all these things done. So let's do this. Okay. So red line here. We have just opened a file with the help of opening tag. And what is the name of that file? That is the notes.txt 10, and they are opening in read mode. Okay. So the file will open here. The file open here, and after that just do this thing. Okay, so we have a line 1, line in a line. Okay, yeah, just f dot red line done, and just print line. Yeah, do this line 1 in syntax. Yeah, so this thing and just print what do, so what is the output now. See, So what do you mean? That's the good morning. That's correct. Okay, that's mean the line one only read the single line. Okay, that's reads the only single line. Okay, yeah. I hope you clearly understand how the read line will work like. Now let's talk about the read lines. Yeah, yeah. Let's open any file name. That's notes. Remember that's the file name. That is just file read notes. Okay. Now let's create all lines. New variable all lines. F dot read lines. Yeah, done. And now just print and see what is the output. Yeah. What does it mean? Now just print. So you remember I just told you all the that's the first line is the good morning. That's correct. And that's the second is the good night. That's correct. Okay. And that's all inside the list. So these are the meaning of the red lines. The how the red lines will work like. Okay. So that return a list of lines. Okay. Yeah. I hope you done. I hope you clearly understand this whole points how this thing will work like. So now let's move forward and let's talk about the more things. I hope it's clearly understand to you. Okay. So just do some after that understanding. Always do some practice questions. Therefore, you will clearly understand all these points. Okay. So now let's talk about the looping over a file. What does it mean? So a file object is iterable, like a looping over its rates one line at a time. Okay. So a file object is always iterable and the looping over it reads one line at a time, which is memory efficient for large files. Okay. So after what we have, what do you mean by this? Okay. So let's do this. Okay. Let's talk about this. And we have just opened a file. Okay. And we are for line in F. That's the any line inside F. Print line dot strip. Strip means what? That the strip removes the new line, and then that's a good thing. Open the file. Anything you have to do in the file, and after that we have to close the file. That is the syntax of the how we have to close the file. Okay. So let's do these things and let's see what is happening at that point. Okay. What are happening? Okay. So let's do this. What does it mean by that? So looping over a file. Yeah. So looping over a file, and after that what we have to do, just do this. Okay. So let's get a file name. That's this one. That's open the file. Notes. Okay. Then these are going inside this one. Armor done. Then what we have to do for line in F. Okay. The whole syntax for line in F. What we have to do? So we have to just print what we have to print, that so we have to just remove the new line. So inside the line we have to just print this one. Okay, so line for line in f, line dot strip. Okay, we were also told about the strip, what strip means. Okay, so this one. Okay, and after that what we have to do, just close the file, f dot close file will close here the file. Okay, so the file closed. Okay, after that what we have to do here, so inside the strip, that's doing what, that's removes new line. Okay, okay, yeah. So for better understanding, the strip removes new line. Okay, now just print what this means. So good morning and good night. See, I hope you clearly understand this one, how this thing will work. With the help of loop and a file, we can use the strip that removes the new line and the printed look like this one. So I hope you clearly understand how this thing will work here. Okay. So now let's move forward and let's do more questions. Okay. Yeah. So after that, uh, now we have deal with the reading the file, and now we are dealing with how we have to do how we are doing writing the two files. Okay, what do you mean by this? Okay, so write adds a string to the file, and write lines writes a list of strings. Both require write or append mode. Now let's talk about what a write and append mode. What do you mean by this? So let's all these things one by one and let's talk about. Okay. So first of all, what we have to do, first of all, let the first fundamental is what, first just open the file. Okay, here what we have to do, writing to files. Yeah, just first of all what we have to do, just open the file. Okay, so what is the file name? That is the notes dot txt, and that is open in write mode, correct? Now let's talk about this one. Okay, yeah, just open, and we have to just write something inside that file. Okay, okay, so with the help of this, we can do for the, if we are writing in the new line. Okay, so we are doing this. Okay, I hope you understand. Okay, so now just write something inside the file, and let's do what's happening here. Okay, so what we have to do. So okay, so just f dot write anything if you want to write, and what we have to write, like just write this one, hello student, hello students, yeah, and this one, and what we have to do for the new line, do this. Okay, so after that, let's write for the line 2 also. So f dot write, this is line 2. Okay, and this is line 2, and after that what we have to do for the new line, what we have to do this. Okay, yeah, I hope you clearly understand this point, how this thing will work. Okay, so now what we have to do, so we are writing inside that file. What do you mean? Okay, okay, now how this will work like. Okay, so you have just know how this thing look like. Okay, we have just know the syntax. We have not we have done nothing here. We have okay, so just know about the, just at this point just know about the syntax. Okay, so this point how we can write, and when we do with the Write lines, how this thing, so write lines writes a list of a string. Okay, so these are all these things, and we have just write lines, and then after that that's the close. What do you mean by this? Just a syntax you have to know. Okay, so let's do this. Uh, and after that what we have to do, let's do, and let's understand all these things, how these things work like. Okay, so we have lines, and what we have to do, so we have a line that is line A, a new line, and after that line B, new line, and after that line C. Yeah, so how this thing look like, so for the new line. Okay, and after that what we have to do, so f dot write lines, that's with how this look like, so this thing, this one. Yeah, write lines. Okay, and after that yeah, so these are the whole syntax, and these are the, here just see this one, these are the lines. Okay, and just close the file. Okay, so it's okay. So these are the whole syntax, how the syntax will look like. I hope you clearly understand how we can write in the file. Okay, so now let's move forward, and let's talk about the next thing. Okay, here. So in file handling, we are now we are talking about closing the files. Okay. So with the help of this one, close, that releases the file from the program and flushes any buffer data to disk. That is the closement. And why it matters? Why we have to do this? Okay, why it matters? So unclosed file can lose unsafe data sometimes. So that's a lock the file for other programs or leak system resources. That's the problem at that point. Okay. And the what is a good habit? That's always pair every open with a close. That's the mentality. You have to maintain something, and you have to follow this rule. Like always pair every open with a close, or better use with the with statement. Next slide, we will talk about what do you mean by the with statement. Okay, I hope you clearly understand why we are doing the why we are closing the files. So that's the basic mean. If you have to open anything, you have to close. So that's the thing. Okay, now let's talk about the best practice with the help of the with statement. How the with statement will work like, let's talk about. Okay, so what we have to do, that's the, we have deal with the manual approach. We have just opened the file in read mode. That's the read the file and print that file, print the data inside that file, and then after that close the file. That is sometimes that is easy to forget. What the problem at that point? You sometimes you have just forget. Okay, so for a better approach, we have recommended what we have to do at that point. So we are deal with the with option. That's the recommended approach. Okay. So with open, with the help of with open, that's the file name and mode as f. That you have to do this, and then data equal to that read, and that is this means what, file auto closed here. That's the basic meaning about the with help of the with statement, how this thing will work, right? So let's do this. Okay. So best practice is what, the with statement. So what we have to do, so best practice, the with statement. Okay. Yeah. Now, what is the manual approach? Let's talk about first of all this thing. Okay. Now, what we have to do, we have just any file name. That's yeah. We have just open any file. Open file name is what? Notes.txt. and that's opening inside the read mode. Correct? Yeah, done. What we have to do, what is the manual approach? We have just created anything that's data. That we mean by that app dot read, and that's this one. And what we have to do, just to print data. That's good. Okay, and at this point, that's done. What we have to do? That we have to do this thing. That's app dot close. So this is easy to forget sometimes. Okay, easy to forget sometimes. So for the so we have what we have a recommended approach. We have recommended approach, that is to go there. Yeah, yeah. So we have recommended approach, that is this one, and that is what, with the help of the with statement. How this thing work like? So this thing work like, we have used the with statement. So with the help of the with statement, do this. Okay. So we have do this with open any file then, that is the notes.txt, and that is at the read mode as f. Okay. Then we have a data, that do mean by f dot read, then print data. That's after that there is nothing required at the closing the file. So file auto closed here. Here and just print and see. So we have the same thing, that is the good morning and good night. That's the same thing we have just opened, and after that we have just with the help of the with statement. I hope you clearly understand this point, how this thing work like. Okay. Now, yeah, this is a quick recap of the file workflow, how the file will work like. Just what we have to do, we have just open the file, read and write inside the file, and that process. Then after that, just close the file. If you are using the with statement, there is a close. Uh, is not mandatory. Okay, so that's the most important thing is here, what, that the escaping the close step is the first cause of file related bugs. Use it to avoid it entirely. Okay, so I hope you understand all the about the file handling. So let's move forward, and now let's talk about our part 2 of this lecture, that is the exception handling. So in exception handling, what we have to do, so in exception handling, writing programs that fail gracefully instead of crashing. That's the whole agenda of behind exception handling is what, writing programs that fail gracefully instead of crashing. So let's move forward and talk all these things in brief. Okay. So first of all, in exception handling, let's talk about the what are errors. Okay. So what are errors? So, first of all, let's talk about the definition. So, an error is any problem that stops a program from running correctly or as expected. So, these are the definition of the error. Like any error, that an error is any problem that stops a program from running correctly or expected. Okay. So, in programming, so errors can occur while writing code. So just see, like if you are some writing code, there is some error, like there is some syntax error. So, or while the program is running, there is some runtime or logical error. So, what was all these things? So, we will discuss in this lecture all about this. Okay. So, but the most important thing is that why it matters. Okay. So, well handled error give uh, useful feedback. Yeah, useful feedback instead of an ugly crash. So critical for reliable software, it's a matter. Okay. So these are the all these things. What are error? That's the definition. Why is programming and why it matters. So all these things. Okay. So now let's talk about the types of errors. Okay. So at this time we have two errors. First of all, we have a syntax error, and second is that is a runtime error that's known as exceptions. So first of all, let's talk about the syntax error. So in syntax error, that is a violate the grammar rules of the language. First of all, second one is the detected before the program runs. Always remember. Third one is the example like some you are some missing colon, unmatched bracket. That is the some example of the syntax error, and must be fixed before code can execute. Always remember, before the code can execute, you have to fix that. Okay. So what was the runtime error? So runtime error occur while the program is executing. When the program is executing, then the runtime error occurs. Okay. Second one is the code is syntactically uh, yeah correct but fails on some input. That's the whole thing. So third one is just an example. We have some zero division error, file not found error. We have also seen that we have node.txt is not found that. So therefore there is a file not found error. We have also that. So these are the some runtime errors. And fourth one and the most important, that is the can be caught and handled with try or accept. What is this? So let's talk all these things, talk about a brief. Okay. I hope you understand all the difference between the syntax error and the runtime errors. Okay. So now let's move forward, and now let's talk about the common built-in exceptions. What does it mean and why you use it? Okay. So we have some exceptions. So like there are some types of exception. We have a zero division error, file not found error, value error, type error, index error, and key error. And what was this? So when zero division error raised when a number is divided by zero. If any number that is divided by zero, then zero division error raised. Okay. When the file not found error occurs, so file not found error raised when a file that doesn't exist is open for reading. Remember, okay? Value error means raised when a function receive the right type but an invalid value. Therefore, the value error occurs. Type error, an operation is applied to an incompatible data type. Then the type error, index error. So in this sequence, index is out of range. That's the index error. And we have a key error. So that's a dictionary key that doesn't exist is accessed. So these are some exceptions, and when it's raised, so these are the all definitions. So I hope you clearly understand all types of all common built-in exceptions. Okay. So now let's move forward, and now let's talk about the exception handling concept. So how we can handle the exceptions? Okay. So instead of letting and error crash the whole program, we anticipate risky code and respond to problem on our own terms. I hope you clearly understand this point. First of all, what we have to do, first of all, that detect. So identify code that might fail, like division, file access, user input. So first of all, we have to detect done. After that, the try block. Inside the try block, that's the wrap that risky code inside the try block. Remember that risky code that wrap in the inside the try block. Third one is the catch. So use except. Try done. After that, in catch, use except to respond to specific errors without crashing. Okay. And the fourth one is the continue. The program keeps running smoothly after the error is handled. That's the basic thing. I hope you clearly understand all this topic, like how the exception handling concept. So first of all, detect, try, catch, and continue. These are the words. Okay. So let's move forward. And now the most important thing is here the try except syntax. How we can handle, how we can handle error exceptions. Okay. So try except syntax, that's the basic structure that risky code goes in try, Remember that risky code always goes in try. The response to failure goes in accept. The risky code goes inside try, and the response to failure goes in accept. Remember, okay? So now let's do this. Okay. So these are some syntax like how the try except syntax will look like. So we have some like let's talk about this. So we have to with the exception handling. So file handling done. So now let's create our new one, that is the exception handling dot py. Yeah, done. So now let's talk about the try except syntax. Okay. So yeah. So we have some try block with the it look like similar like just try block, and we have just put some risky operations, and in except like we have some type of error. That's just see here. We have try block, and that code that might raise an exception, that risky operation inside the try block done. After that, accept some error. That means the code that runs if that error occurs. That's handle the problem. So try in a risky operation, I accept that handle the problem. Okay. So these are the whole thing. So let's do this. Like we have some block, like we have a try block. Just see the example. So we have a try block, and inside that we have a risky operation. Okay. And after that we have a accept block. Except that we have a, some type of error. Any error we have occur, and that's good inside this and handle the problem. Okay. Yeah. After that, that's doing the handle the problem. I hope you clearly understand the syntax of the try syntax. Okay, so when we solve some question, yeah, if you try some question, so you can find that how this thing done. Okay, so these are the syntax, and okay, so how the try except syntax will look like you have seen. Okay, so now what we have to do in exception handling. So the try block, what the purpose, execution, or failure, what we have to do. So the try block, so the purpose of the try block is contains the code Python will attempt to run. Usually the operation most likely to fail. That's the purpose. And what is the execution? So Python runs it line by line. If an exceptions occur, it stops immediately at that time. Remember? And the on failure, what we have to do, so control jump straight to a matching except block instead of crashing the program. So these are the whole workflow how the try except block will work. Okay. So I hope you clearly understand the try block, and after that let's talk about the except block, how the except block this look like, and let's do some yeah. So catch a specific exception. So type so you only handle the errors you expect. Like you have some just see here we have some try block, and we have some input some number from a user, and that is the result. That result then divided by num. Okay. So what was the exception behind this? So except we have the if num will be 0, so that's a 0 division error. So print you can't divide it by 0 first of all. Second one is that except value error. Print please enter a valid number. Okay. So these are the whole thing. Okay. And after that what we have to do is just print that result and then see what's happening. Okay. So now let's do this. Okay. And let's do this, and after that let's understand all things. Okay. So we have a try block, and inside a try block we have taken num, yeah, int input, enter a number. Okay. So what we number done, and we have some result. That result be what? That result be 10 divided by num, correct? So here some error. That's a risky operation. We have some error. So what is that error? So except just say here it's a zero division error, correct? So what we have to print? So print, yeah. So what we have to print? So print, uh, you can't divide it by zero. Okay, you can't divide it by zero. Okay, and the next exception is what? That's the except block. What? That is the print. What was the next thing? That is a value error. Okay, just say here value error. Okay, and please enter a valid number. Valid number. Correct. Now these are the whole these things. So what we have to do now, just print, and what we have to just any number we have, that's 0. Okay, you can't divide it by 0, correct? Next one, we have 5, correct? So what we have to do, just print result. Okay, 2.0, correct? Yeah. Now just put 0 and see what happening. Okay, so these are the whole these things, and we have some try for the value error, that how this thing will find. So in value error like -1, yeah, so that's the mean. So keyboard input interrupt. Now we have a integer. Okay, so now okay, please enter all this thing done, and after that that's a value error, and yeah, please enter a valid number. Okay, so I hope you clearly understand all this point how this thing will work. So we have some try block. So we have do any exception based any like the user take a 0. So what will that find? That's the except block will look like, and you can't divide it by 0 done, and invalid please enter a valid number if you enter any invalid number. Okay, so I hope you understand all this point how this thing will work. So now let's move forward. I hope you clearly understand the try except block. Okay, so these are the whole things. So now let's move forward, and let's talk about the multiple except block. Yeah. So multiple except block like stack several except blocks to handle different errors differently, and add a generic one as a safety net. Okay. Well, how this thing is possible? Let's talk about. Okay. So what we have to do at this time? Yeah. So we have to do this thing like we have some multiple except block done, and what we have to do like we have some try except block here. So what we have to do here, we have some try block like we have just open any file. Okay, uh, yeah, open any file, this one here, and after that we have a value that means int file dot readline. Okay, that's the readline. We have to find the readline at that point. Okay, and after that we have some exception, file not found error. Okay, we have a one type of error, that's the print file does not exist. Second exception is what? Except block is what? Value error, file content isn't a number, correct? Third one is what? Except exception as e, print something else went wrong, and e. What does it mean? So let's do this, and let's do this in brief. Okay. So what we have to do here, so yeah, so let's move forward and let's try the multiple except block. Yeah, okay, so let's try the multiple except block, and inside that what we have to do. Okay, so now let's create any file like data.txt. Okay, txt done, and inside that we have to put just number because we have to use the int. Okay, so just number. Okay, that's a number inside this, and let's go to our exception. Yeah, okay, so now we have any file name. Okay, we have any file name, and what we have to do, like we have any just create a try block, and we have a file name, file here equal to open a file with the data.txt, correct, and these are open a file, and we have some value. Value equal to what we have to do here, yeah, value equal to int file dot read line. I have to read that line. Okay, so int, yeah, int value, yeah, here int, yeah, file dot read line. Okay, correct. Yeah, now the except will we start from there and see what happened. Except what, except that's a first error is what, first exception is what, that's a file not found error. Okay, first one is file not found error, correct. This means what, print file doesn't exist. Okay, so file in second is what, that's a value error, that file content isn't a number. Okay, file doesn't exist, correct, and then the next except block is that's a value error here, and this means print file doesn't, file content, file content isn't a number. Okay, you have to do this, you have to just print anything you have to want. Okay, file content is not a number, done, and okay, and the last thing is what, that's the except, what the except, the last the exception as e. Okay, that's a something else wrong, or what was wrong, that's the e, so except exception as e. Okay, yeah, except exception as what, that's the e, and that means we have to just print what we have to print here, so we have to just print this one, something went wrong, something else went wrong, and yeah, something else went wrong, and what was that, that was e. I hope you clearly understand all fundamental of how this thing will work like. Okay, and now see, and now just print, now just run and see what happened. Yeah, so now what we have to do, yeah, all this thing done here, so in data.txt we have to just print anything. Okay, and now just run and see what the problem. Okay, So we have some we have the in data.txt we have some AS extra as a alphabet. Okay, okay. So this is a not a number. So the problem is what? So here the value error that file contained is not a number, correct? If here if I just dat.txt, what does it mean? So this give us the file doesn't exist, so that means a file not found error, correct? I hope you understand all this point. And if you have any exception, that's this one is not, this one is not, therefore this one is fine. I hope you clearly understand all this point, how this thing will look like. So in file handling, we have discussed all these things. Okay. So if you want to print anything, so you can do. Okay. So like what we have to do, like if just if there are any type, means uh, nothing error here. Okay, that's correct. And now what we have to do, just print. Okay. So just print what? That's a value. Correct. Now see what happens. Okay, so file data looks like txt. Correct. Okay, so that the value is 1133456. So just see here that is value 1133456. So these are the whole things how the try except block will look like. I hope you clearly understand these things. So I hope I clear all doubt how the try block, except block, how some exception that some file not found error, value error, exception that's like as e, how this thing will look like. So how the multiple except block to look like, I hope you clearly understand all these things. Okay. So now let's move forward and let's talk about the next thing. That is, so multiple except block done. So now the most important thing is here what? The else clause. So how the else clause will work? Just see here. So just imagine that like code in else runs only when the try block succeeds with no exception. If the try block succeeds with no exception, keeping success logic separate from error handling. Therefore, the else clause will look like. Like here, we have some try block that result this one, and there is a no n types of the zero division error that cannot divide by zero. That there is a no type, there is a nothing exception here. So that's the else block will look like. That's a print success. The result is that result. So yeah, let's do this here. We have to, if we have to try this, so we can do this here. So what we have to do, so like here just do this clause. How else clause will work like? Just see here, if we have any code in else runs only when the try block succeed with no exception, correct? Like keeping success logic separate from error handling. How this thing will work like now just see and let's talk about how this thing will possible. Okay, so now let's do this. Okay, we have a try except and else block. Okay, so do this. So we have what? So now we have, yeah, so now the we have the else clause, the else clause. Okay, yeah. So what we have to do, so first of all we have a try block. In try block, let's get anything like we have a result, just result. Okay, result equal to 10 divided by 2, done, correct? And what we have to accept block here, so accept what? Why? That's a zero division error. Okay, therefore in zero division what we have to print uh yeah, print zero cannot divided by 0. Okay, cannot divided by 0, correct? Okay, and the last thing, that is the else block. Else, in else what we have to do, just print what? So in else block we have to just print this thing. success, and the result is this one, correct? Yeah, success, and this one. What that result is this result. I hope you clearly understand all this point. Okay, now let's just print. Okay, so success, now the result is 5.0, so 10 divided by 2, that's a 5.0, correct. And if we do this thing, then that's a cannot divided by 0, that's a 0 division error. So I hope you understand the how the else clause will work. Okay, yeah, now just comment out. And now let's move forward. So code in the else runs only when the try block succeed with no exception. Okay, so keeping success logic separate from the error handling. I hope you understand. Okay, so the now let's talk about the most important thing here, that is the finally block. What are the finally block, how it works? So code in finally always runs, remember, code in finally always runs when whether or not an exception occurs, perfect for cleanup like closing files. Okay, I hope you understand all this point, how this thing will work like. So now let's try a example. Okay, so let's try this. We have a init try block that we have just opened a file in read mode, and we have just data that we have to read that file, and we have some error that the file not found, and after we have finally print execution complete, that always run, and after just file closed. These are all things. Okay, no, now let's do. Okay, so we have what? We have the finally block. Yeah. So inside the finally block, first of all, we have to just try block. So in try block, what we have to do? So we have any file name? We have just file. Yeah, app is also good. File name. Open any file. What any file name? That's all. We have to take a data of yes, no? Okay. We have any file name? Yeah. We have a node.txt on our file name. So we have to just take this time. Okay. Node.txt, and after that, which mode? That's the R mode. Yeah. And after that, what we have to do? We have to just read just we have data equal to f dot read that file, and now create a except block. So in except, what was the except data file not found error. Yeah. What we have to print file doesn't exist. Yeah. Try done, except done, and the most important thing, that is the finally block. Print execution complete. Like this means it's always runs. Okay, always run. And after that, just close that file. So f dot close. Okay, and now just run and see what happened. Okay, so the finally block are running here, and what we have to do is to print the data inside the file, and now just see what happening here. Yeah, now just print and see. Okay, so inside the notes.txt, we have a good morning, good night, done. And after printing this data, so except block will not running here. Then after finally block will run here, and the execution complete. So these are the whole thing. So how the else clause run, how the except block run, how the try block will run, and how the finally block will run. I hope you clearly understand all this fundamental about the try, except, else, finally. Okay. So I hope it's clearly understand to you, and there is not any type of doubt at this time. I hope it's clear for you, and I cleared all doubt. Okay. So now let's move forward, and these are the finally block. That is the code in the finally block always runs. So whether or not an exceptions occur, perfect for cleanup like closing. I hope you understand. Okay. So these are the finally block. Okay. So the now the most important just talk most important thing in exception handling is what? That's the complete flow. How this thing will work like. That's the try, except, else, finally. We have dealt with. And in try block, what we have to do? We have run risky code in try block. Done. In except block, what we have to do? That runs only if an error occurs. Okay. In else block, what we have to done? So that runs only if no error occurs. So and the fourth one is the finally block. What we are done here? So always runs no matter what. That's a Viva based question. Remember that's the finally block always runs no matter what. So these are the complete flow. That's how the try, except, else block will run. Okay. So only one of except or else. This is the most important thing. Just only one of except or else runs per attempt, but finally always executes at the end. Remember, always only one or except or else runs per attempt. Okay, these two things always one runs per attempt, but the finally always execute at the end. I hope you clearly understand the workflow of the exception handling. So now let's talk about example of a safe division. Okay, how the safe division will work like. Okay, so now let's talk about we have a with the help of yeah, we have a dev we have a yeah, a small program that safely handles division by zero using try except. Let's see here. We have a dev that we have created this one, that's safe divide and a comma b try return a divided by b except zero division error, print error division by zero and return none. Okay, and print safe division 10 by 2, that's correct, and print safe division 10 comma 0, that's the error message, then none. Okay, I hope we have also a safe file reading, and let's do this example. First of all, let's try this the safe division example. Okay, yeah. So in safe division, what we have to do? We have just create any file that was safe division a comma b, yeah, then result equal to a divided by b. Okay, and oh, that's the return. We have to use a try block, and after we have to just return, and we have some this thing. So using some try block here, what we have to just using try block, yeah, yeah, correct. And then we have result equal to, then not result, we have to just do this return a divided by b. Correct. I hope it's correct for you. And now what we have to do? We have a accept zero division error. That means print error division by zero or return none. Okay, accept zero division error. That means print, what we have to print here? Error division by zero and return none. Okay, so this thing. So that is error. And what was the error? So error, yeah, error, and we have just division by zero. Okay, and after that what we have to do, just return here and just return none and just run. Okay, so now just run this what we, yeah, done. And now just call the function. I hope Understand? Now what we have to do, that's a return done. So we have just done a print safe division, correct? And what is safe division? That's is 10 and divided by 2. Okay. And another one, same thing we have to just do with the value of the a and b will different. Control plus C, yeah, and yeah, do this. Yeah, here we are. What we have to do? We have to just do this, and now just see what is the output. Okay. Oh, okay. 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 1 second. 1 second. Yep. Got it. Yeah. Yeah. Just see. So with the help of the step division, that 10 divided by 2, that's a 5.0, correct. But the 10 divided by 0, that's means 0 division error. Therefore, the print this thing, and that is error division by 0, and then return none. So I hope you understand with the help of the function how this thing will work like. So I hope you understand this step division method. Okay, step division, this one. Okay, this is a very good example for you. And now let's take one more example, that is the safe file reading, how this thing will look. Okay, so now what we have to do here, so combining both topics like safely opening a file that might not exist. That means we have just using we have just a def, that's a that's a function of read file, that's a name, and we have a try block with open file name, and with read mode as app, return app.read, then except file not found error, that's this one, and finally print read attempt. Okay, so I hope you understand all these things. So let's do this. Okay, so you can do this also, but let's do this. Okay, for a better understanding. So you can do this also, that we have a try block, and with open, that's the file we open. If the file will not found, therefore this print, and the finally block is always run. So I hope you understand all this topic before that how the save file handling reading will work and the save division method will work. I hope there is no any type of doubt here. Okay. Now let's talk about some recap. That's some key takeaways. That the total thing about the file handling and exception handling. So that is what that we have just in file handling, we are doing open, that's give access to a file. Always match it with close. Remember. Second one is we have some modes, that's the R read mode, W write or overwrite, A append mode plus variants. There's something, and we have some read lines or cover different reading names. And the fourth one is the with statement auto closes file, prefer it every time. So these are the file handling. Okay, and we have some exception handling. So like in exception handling, errors are syntax, runtime, or logical. Like only runtime errors are exceptions. So try holds risky code, like except catches a specific failure. And the third one is the else runs on success. Finally always runs, ideal for cleanup. And the fourth one is the good execution handling, keeps programs from crashing on bad input. So these are the whole key takeaways about the file handling and the exception handling. I hope it's clearly understand to you. And now let's wrap up this lecture 12. That's I hope it's clear understand to you, and there is nothing any type of doubt here. So these are the all 12 lecture I have completed, and at this time I have completed all the basic about the Python. I think the basic of the all Python have been completed, and I just want to told you that in this all lecture, yeah. So this is the this YouTube series is also a part of my college project, that's known as community development project. So inside that we have uh, We have just teaching some Python tutorial on YouTube. So we have just completed my CDP project here. So I hope it's clearly understand to you all this lecture, and there is nothing any types of doubt here. So I hope it's totally clear understand to you, and I hope you like this video. So if you like this video, please like, and please put any you have any types of doubt. So please put in the comment section, and please subscribe my channel. So and please subscribe my channel, and please hit the bell icon. So let's open the floor. Questions on files, exception, or anything in between are welcome. So if you have any doubt, so please put in the comment section, and I hope it's clear understand to you. And I've just completed my whole CDP project here. So and also Python community development project, this thing, and this Python programming course is also completed here. I hope it's clearly understand to you. So yeah, and one more thing, at this time, I've just completed all the 12 lectures. So just practice uh, all types of questions, all types of coding questions based on the topic. So you have clear understand all this topic, and always do practice, because the practice makes you a perfect developer and a coder. I hope you understand all these things. So always do practice, because practice makes you perfect. Okay. So wrap up, and let's lecture 12 wrap up, and thank you.